Welcome to the Growth Lab, the podcast dedicated to the business of beauty and vitality. Today, we're sitting down with Brittany Clark, the owner at Fairfax Pilates in Fairfax, Virginia. It is a Pilates studio that also has some additional services as well. It's an amazing practice that features many unique services, so let's find out more. This episode is brought to you by MedSpa Accelerator. We help med spas and weight loss clinics solve the bottleneck of inconsistent, unqualified patient leads to achieve a predictable, scalable monthly revenue without staff burnouts. We are absolutely thrilled to have Brittany join us today to discuss the future of aesthetics and these unique treatments. Let's get started. Good morning, Brittany. How are you?
I'm great. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for joining us today. I'm really excited to dive into your story. I like to frame these conversations really simply past, present, and future. I want to start with your origin story there, how you got into this demanding but rewarding industry. And then we'll pivot over to the present reality of what's working, what's causing friction, and what's keeping those doors open. And finally, we'll transition from there to the future outlook, which is your vision for the next 3 to 5 years and the biggest strategic moves that you're planning. That way, we'll cover a full spectrum of building a successful practice. Does that sound like a good roadmap?
Perfect. Let's do it.
Excellent. Well, you obviously have a Pilates studio, but I think it's a little bit more than what most people would assume. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, of course. So I'm in Northern Virginia. We have a million fitness facilities around us. There's a very dense population of people, which means that there can be a fitness studio on every corner and there's enough people to go around. So about 10 years ago, I opened, it was a Pilates gym, which that sounds a little funny, but it was because we did more than just Pilates. I wanted to do all the things that I enjoyed doing to stay fit. And so not only did we have mat and reformer and equipment Pilates classes, but we had bar classes and yoga and TRX and just general fitness classes that we offered. A large space. It was a lot of fun. But what I found is that I was trying to do too many things and too general. And I don't think that the population I serve and the population that I really want to serve is not general fitness. It's very specific fitness to aging women. And I'm in the business of helping people age gracefully. And so that isn't by doing boot camps, in my opinion, when you're between 40 and 60 years old. I think that ship sailed. The wrong kind of temperament for our aging bodies. And so I relocated 5 years ago, went into a smaller space, and I'm only doing Pilates in terms of the fitness modality that we're doing. So lots of work on biomechanics, posture, alignment, feeling good. We offer nutrition and weight loss coaching because everybody could stand to learn about eating a little bit better. And then we recently brought on a functional medicine team as an affiliate who helps our women with managing their hormones and making sure that they're feeling as good as they look, right? And vice versa. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I want to touch up on about that a little bit later. How did you get started with this whole Pilates journey? You said you've been doing it for 10 years. Is that right?
Yes. Well, actually, a funny story is that I used to be a full time business executive in a former life. And so I was on the road all the time and I was doing Pilates personally 3 times a week privately with my instructor.
Okay.
And fast forward, so I'm just traveling constantly. I'm finding it difficult to make time to do that for myself. So I bought all the equipment for my home. And then I realized I didn't know how to use it. And so I actually went through Pilates certification training to learn how to use my own equipment. And then I loved it so much that I thought, well, I know how to run a business. And now I know how important this is on your body as you're sitting in traffic and you're sitting at desks and you're on airplanes. And so I left that life behind and I opened a Pilates studio. And actually, that's how it
Wow.
started. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's very interesting. Thanks for sharing that with us. Really appreciate that.
Mhm.
Okay. So I want to touch base on some other things. Obviously, you gave us a nice little intro and a little background on the business. Tell me a little bit more about Inception Telehealth.
Yeah. So we partner. I met the owners of this company last fall, and It seems like a perfect fit because, as I mentioned, my target avatar or the client that I serve is generally between 45 and 60 years old. And so that's the time of life where there are a lot of changes happening internally. So while these people are dedicated to trying to eat really well and trying to move often with intelligent exercise, they're still not sleeping as well as they might want to, or they don't have the clarity. They've got some brain fog. They're fatiguing easily. And so, as I was talking with these owners of this company called Inception Telehealth, they were telling me that that's exactly the kind of people they work with. So, I came on as an affiliate for them, which means quite simply, I have a link on my website that anyone can go to and directly connect with this team. And you do a virtual consultation. They then send out a, a requisite for blood work. You go to your local lab, have your blood work drawn. They review it with you and they help you with either any kind of prescription medications or just supplementation that you can take to improve the way that you look and feel. And so far, it's been a success. I've been going through the program myself, which is what they require you to do as the owner of the business. You have to be the guinea pig so that you can better speak about it to your clientele. And so I've been doing it, and now many of my clients are doing it as well. And the results so far are going in the right direction.
That sounds fantastic. Now, let's I wanna make sure that the audience understands your target market. So your target market is kind of mid I wouldn't say elderly, but
Right.
probably middle-aged women, right? Could you dive into that a little bit?
Yes, I mean, so from a Pilates perspective, we welcome anyone, right? But I would say the majority of those who come to my practice in person are 40, 45, mid 40s to 60. Now, of course, we have people on either end of that spectrum, and we'll work with anybody who's interested in moving gracefully, but those are the types of people generally we come in. And so those folks are in a life changing age group. And so that's where this is so important to have these specialists who are on board with us who can help them dial everything in from an internal perspective and how their body chemistry is working and how it's changing and how you can optimize your overall health.
Okay. Wow, that's great. Fantastic. That's really great. Really, I think that's gonna be fantastic. I hopefully, we have some viewers here that is gonna be in the Fairfax or lives in the Fairfax, DC metropolitan area that will come and check it out.
Yeah.
Quick little side note, I know we talked about this before. I actually grew up in Fairfax,
Yeah.
that right down there, right across from GMU. So I would love to check it out sometime if I'm ever back on that coast. But
Yeah.
you probably got a ton of snow right now.
We do. We have a ton of snow, and more coming this weekend. It's kind of fun.
Boy,
Yeah, kind of fun for a minute, but yeah. So my studio is actually walking distance from George Mason. So we do a lot of work with George Mason University as well.
students, yeah? You have a
Yeah,
lot of students from Nova coming over there as well?
we have some more actually the professors who come.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's still Nova, right? Yeah, it's
yeah, it
great.
is. Yeah. And then I work with a couple of the professors at Mason and put together videos and programs for some of their students who, like, for example, the musicians, the strings department. I work with some of the professors in the strings department to create tailored workout programs for them so that their posture is improved because they're sitting so off center for so long with their practice that Pilates is the answer, especially when they're young, so we can make those corrections early.
Okay, fantastic. What is your biggest goal for the business this year?
Community. And I know that probably sounds crazy. Everybody always talks about revenue goals. I'm at a place where I feel like the most important thing isn't money. I love that the business is successful. Obviously, I have to keep the doors open. I want to generate revenue. So
Exactly, yeah.
I got to pay my teachers well to keep the good instructors. And I need to pay for my house and, food on the table, of course. So, at a bare minimum, yes. From a business perspective, I believe that that will come organically when I focus on some other things. And so, my focus primarily at the moment is in building community. So with the changing climate of how the world is working and everybody is remote and everybody is isolated and everybody's on their phones and their laptops and social media, it's very isolating. And so my
Indeed.
focus is on community. And so that's a different vibe that you feel when you walk into my studio versus other places where it just feels warm and inviting. We know everybody's names. Everybody knows everybody else. People meet for coffee after. They hang out in the lobby. We have a coffee shop next door. They often go and grab something together after classes. I know that there's a lot of people who are getting into volunteering together. They're
Mhm.
meeting through our studio. And we do wellness retreats. And so that's a great place for people to disconnect from the everyday grind of whatever it is that they're doing and actually just take a moment, reset, breathe, restore. And then the movement that we do there is so much more impactful and so much more beneficial when you can actually absorb it and take it in. And so really we're just focusing on having a lot of special events, a lot of learning opportunities, a lot of workshops that are helping you just to chill out and just be more comfortable with how you move and how you feel and meeting other people. And I feel like that's a piece that's missing from society right now that we're providing.
I really appreciate your candor in that answer, and I really do like it, but we gotta get a little bit more specific. So are you looking at maybe like at $500,000 in revenue growth this year? Are you looking at $1,000,000 in monthly in total revenue for 2026? There has to be some check marks and some milestones that you're looking to hit in the future, right? So I'm just looking to see
Sure.
kind of what those check marks are. Is it to have every single class for Pilates booked in the next 3 months? Is it to make sure that you don't have any of those teachers that are highly paid leave? Like, tell me some of those check marks for your success.
Sure. Okay, so from a financial perspective, 750 for the year would be a goal,
Okay,
a milestone. I pay my teachers well, and I pay them per student in classes. So it's a numbers game. So if you
okay,
have full classes, I'm rewarding my teachers who teach better because they have full
okay,
classes. I'm giving them more money, and I do pay them highly competitive with what's in the area, probably a little bit above what everybody else pays.
okay.
Because I don't bring on apprentices. I want you to have a lot of experience because I've got my clients are really important to me, and if I am not there, I need to feel 100% certain that you are taking the same kind of care that I would. And so I'm paying
Yeah,
teachers
absolutely.
well to have highly experienced teachers. We have about 40 classes per week, and right now we probably have about 40 private lessons per week. That's where we're at right now. We have maybe 20% available in the existing availability to bring in new people. Okay, so
Mhm.
I did work with a company. I've just started working with a company now who's going to help do some marketing. We never do marketing. We are a word of mouth business and we have been forever. So I
Yeah,
am just now working with a group who I have a lot of faith in. They're small, they understand our business. And so I'm just now starting to fill that capacity to work with
that's
them to,
wonderful.
yeah. And then I have the teachers and they could always add hours. So I would never add classes until I have a wait list. So that's sort of the way. If we have people to spill over, then I'll add a class because I'm not going to add a class and have one person in it. That isn't worth my teacher's time to do it. So from a
No, it's not.
business perspective, I need
And
to have
that's the part
a
where
wait
the
list.
marketing comes in, right? So
Correct.
and it
Yeah.
sounds like you got a lot of faith in them to
Yes.
fill that class, right? Is that
Right.
their mandate to fill those classes?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
So we have it dialed in specifically the kind of marketing that needs to happen to bring in the private clients versus those that are coming in for classes, which I found this discussion quite useful and give me even more faith in this company that I'm using because we are distinguishing the type of person. So the folks that I want to fill my classes are people who have gone to other studios. I'm specifically hunting for people who have already visited other Pilates studios because if they have come from another studio, the minute they walk into our door and experience one of our classes, it's an easy sale. They know the difference. They see how much better it is. It's easy. My
wow.
people coming in one on one, I would prefer you have no Pilates experience because then I have to undo all those bad habits that you've learned. So if I'm working with a private client, I would love somebody who's new to Pilates, somebody who is active, somebody who maybe has sustained an injury or wants to prevent one. That's my wheelhouse for privates. I can make anybody as capable as they want to be. So private, I'd prefer you didn't bring your bad habits with you. But for a
Wow.
class, we can fix them.
Thanks for sharing that with me. I really appreciate that's very, very helpful. So obviously you're a lot like also a traditional med spa in itself as so far as you still have leads, you still have a patient acquisition process, you still need to follow up and you still need to get them in and get them booked into a class or for a service, right? So focusing on where that strain and chaos is showing up, when you look at your current patient acquisition process, what's the first point of friction or strain that your team feels every day?
So we've actually been reworking how we bring in new clients. We have leads all over. We have, generation forms all over our website. So people can, put the information in and then they get into an automated nurture sequence that answers all the top common questions. And then that generally alleviates a lot of administrative time with
Sounds like
answering
GH
what I don't know what GHO is.
go high level.
Yeah, yeah. So we don't use that one, but that was on the table, but we use Keep. It
Okay.
it used to be Infusionsoft, so now it's down to Keep. It's same kind of thing, CRM. So we eliminate administrative friction by having automated nurture sequences. So that's point number 1.
Okay. And that's a point of strain for you?
It used to be because we would get so many leads who weren't quality leads. They were leads, but they weren't prospects, right? So we would get, let's say we get 50 leads, people who are just inquiring about what we do, but of those 50 people or whatever it might be, maybe only 15 of them are genuine quality leads, meaning they live
A lot of
nearby.
window shoppers you had
Correct. Yeah,
on
we're
those inquiry
filtering all of
forms.
that out. We're transparent with our pricing, so then that's another friction that's gone. A lot of gyms and Pilates studios like to hide their pricing and they feel like, "Let's have that sales conversation." I've played with that before. I prefer the transparency. I think it takes away a lot of the friction, as you call it, with those
Yeah.
phone calls coming in. And so I
Yeah.
just, "Here are my prices online. If we are suitable for you, let's talk."
Okay.
So that's
So it
one.
sounds like that was a past issue, maybe, Brittany, where it was now been solved by this Keep CRM. But what point of friction are you feeling today?
I guess we've just reworked the way we bring clients in. So let's say we've passed all of that, and now you're going to be a first time visitor to our studio. We have 2 ways to come in. You can either come in one on one sessions, or you can jump right into classes. And before it was that simple. Here's your privates, here's your classes. The problem was the price point. So people obviously were more attracted to the class prices because they're cheaper. But what was happening was that we were getting people who weren't ready for classes jumping in. And those were becoming a bit disruptive to the class itself, how the teacher was going to
Mm,
lead the class and so forth. So we've actually just restructured that. It actually is launched tomorrow.
okay.
We do not offer straight classes to come in. You have to at least do one private lesson with an instructor before the classes. And at that point, we have the authority to say, listen, I don't think this is best suited for you yet. Let's do a couple of more privates and then you can join the group. So it's a package of
Okay.
one private and 3 classes. That's the
Okay.
class pack
Building
approach.
up that experience to
Yes.
join, right?
Yes.
Okay. No,
Yes.
that's good. Thank you for your honesty. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And how do you feel that every single lead from that initial inquiry to booked consult is followed up on consistently? Is that keep that's making sure that every single one is being nurtured? And as a second part of that question, what percentage of those leads that are incoming do you feel are slipping through the cracks?
I don't wanna sound overconfident, but I don't believe anybody is slipping through the cracks. We have
Okay.
it dialed in with emails and text messaging between myself and I have a studio manager. We are on the phone with those, very interested prospects. You can tell the ones who are responding to us or peeking around more on the website. We have a pretty high close rate. We have very low churn and we have a very high close rate. So of the leads, yes, there is a big gap between the leads and the number of qualified prospects, but I think that's very reasonable. I don't want to bring in people who aren't qualified. So I'd rather work with fewer qualified lead prospects than just a boatload of people. So Keep helps us do that. They manage it through all the nurture sequences, and then we stay on top of it with follow-up text messages. We're very responsive to the text messages. We have them remotely onto our phones, so we don't have to be in front of our computer. I can be at my kid's basketball game and I can respond to messages. Same with my studio manager. So we're very responsive and we have a high close rate because of it.
Oh, that's great. If you could eliminate one time sink or repetitive task that distracts your most highly paid Pilates instructors from delivering, teaching the class, what would that be?
Candidly,
Candidly, is it answering phone calls? I don't know if they do that.
no, when people walk in. So we're teaching a class and we have people walk in and they want to interrupt the class and they want to ask questions to the teachers while they're teaching. And so they completely bypass all of the information that we have on the wall. Here are all of our pamphlets. Here is the form you can fill out. Sorry, we're teaching a class. Put your name and info here. What do you need? They
You
walk
can just
right
have them
past
point,
it.
just like there's the sign right
Yeah.
there.
Neon sign right there. So they walk in and then they don't understand why you can't have a conversation with them about their injuries while you're in the middle of a class. So there's just like some awareness issues with some of the people coming in and we're not always there. So sometimes there's more than one teacher, but we're all with clients. And so who is going to stop the session it's not fair if you're spending, $120 to come in for a private lesson. Should I be the one to stop and answer the person's walking in, or are you the one in the class? It's just never a right thing. So that's the
Yeah.
biggest friction now, but it's hard. It doesn't make sense. We don't have enough walk-ins to staff a full-time front desk person. So it's just
What about a big sign?
we have a big sign.
Do not interrupt the class. Like, maybe it needs to be neon.
Yeah, perhaps lit up or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Well, thank you
Yes.
for being candid about that. I really appreciate that.
Mhm.
Let's see. I guess what systems do you have in place that turns a first time Pilates person that's never been into Pilates before into a long term, high value student, I guess I'll call them, who returns for multiple Pilates classes throughout the year. For example, signing up through the end of 2026, versus just signing up for one class.
Okay, so we are membership-based studio, period.
Okay.
We don't do class passes where you can buy a package of 10. I think that's
Okay.
a terrible business model to follow because
Okay.
you're constantly then trying to resell to the same people. So you can pay and come once and you'll pay the highest price that we have. Or we only have 6-month and 12-month memberships. That's it. So whether you come once a week, twice, 3 times, unlimited times, you are committing 6 or 12 months. So, and they auto renew and we're very clear with all of our members. We have a very low churn rate, just to be clear. So for 10
Okay.
years our churn
Yeah,
rate
you
is
mentioned that.
it's under 2%. So the people who come to us stay. We have about 120 members right now, and I would say 70% of them have been with us the majority of those 10 years that we've been open. So we have a very little turnover. The ones who do leave are generally the ones who sign up for one time a week. That isn't
Ah,
our client, right? Because they are not committed fully. They got one foot in the door and they're doing something else, which I understand. And that's the reason we created it. It's like you're weightlifting with your trainer, you're playing golf or tennis, whatever. Great. We'll do the one time a week. That is the one that churns though.
mhm.
But no, we have memberships and that we had never had 10 packs. I've witnessed that as a student at other studios in years past. And then as a business person, that isn't a good business model. So we have memberships. And we were one of the first in the area to have membership models. And now all of the competitors in my area have that same membership model, which is flattery, imitation is the highest form of flattery, right? So I think it's great that they're doing some of the membership models too, but it keeps the most importantly for the client's perspective, it keeps them accountable. They're paying, they're going to keep coming. When they keep coming, they keep seeing results, and you keep seeing results, and it returns. You keep coming, right? So it's a win for everyone.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate it. Now, I know that you just re-signed your lease. What does the next 2 to 3 years look like for you, Brittany?
So we are, I mentioned that we're focusing a lot on community. So we are jam packing our calendar with all sorts of special events and workshops. Those are revenue generating workshops, of course, but
Okay, so it's an additional paid thing that they have to get into. Okay, cool.
yes, of course. So whether we have a visiting chiropractor or we have somebody coming in to do Botox for the group, something light like that, or it can be this is specifically how you do these exercises on this piece of equipment, or this is like a back pain workshop. So we do have lots of little community things. They are paid. So our teachers are compensated and we bring in good talent to do this kind of stuff. So I'm going to pay these people. So that's big. We're leading retreats. I have a retreat at Canyon Ranch this April. And that
Mhm.
one's almost full already. I'd like to do at least one, if not two retreats a year. We've been doing retreats now for a few years, and I think that's also revenue generating, but more so it is just allowing people to disconnect and really appreciate what it means to restore. So that's huge for us.
What about, maybe taking everybody to Massanutten Ski Resort, right?
We got skiing
They're
right here.
flexible. They're flexible. They're doing their Pilates. I think everybody could do it, right? What do you think, Brittany?
Yes, we actually have lots of clients who've been skiing and they've come in with all these stories about how their family members were fatigued and they were ready to go.
Oh, that's awesome. You should do an outing there. You could do a collaboration possibly with them, and, I think that would be beneficial. I've been there before, obviously, so,
Yeah,
it's great, and
it
I'm
is
an avid skier.
nice. Well, you could be a
Absolutely.
guest. You'll have to come out
Okay,
with us.
I would love to. I wanna be really yeah, that's really great. Okay, cool. So you mentioned the goal of one of your goals for this year was to, scale to $750,000 in revenue. Now, it's to cover basically, obviously, the lease, to cover payments for your highly paid instructors. And if you looked at the business today, what is the single heaviest anchor that's dragging that process down? What is one broken system that, if fixed, would solve half the other problems on the list?
There for a while, I was always short instructors. Finding teachers who are qualified is the biggest bottleneck because although a million people are certified, a lot of them don't actually teach, is what I've discovered. And they don't want to work, which is really crazy to me. So it's only been the last couple months that I actually added one more instructor to my team. I have
Okay.
been short a teacher on and off for 4 years. It's extremely difficult to find qualified teachers. So that's a big thing. And so that I haven't been able to do any marketing because I don't have any teachers. We're at capacity all around, which is a good problem to have to some extent. But my growth has really been limited by the capacity. How many more people can I help? So now that I have a full team, which is just recent,
Yeah.
I am optimistic that with the help of this marketing team that we're bringing on, now we have a full team. I don't really see any reason why we can't be as big as we want.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. I really appreciate that. Basically, what you're saying is that it's not a people problem. It's kind of well, it is a people problem, right? It's
You
more
problem.
it's kind of yeah, it's kind of getting more and more instructors that are in there. So it's
Yeah,
not a system process problem, it's a
right.
people problem and actually having the availability of those instructors. Is that correct?
Yes. And a lot of
Gotcha.
the teachers, it's surprising because these are grown people. I would expect from inexperienced, new to the workforce, 20 somethings, but I'll have teachers who seem highly, prospective and they'll flake out. They don't show up. They don't answer the phone for interviews. They don't come in for auditions, or they'll come in for auditions and then I'll say, okay, let's have a follow up conversation. And then they're gone. It's extremely frustrating. I've interviewed 15 instructors in the past year, and 14 of them weren't worth following up on, right? So
Wow.
it's hard, and these are people who should know better,
Yeah.
right? You're old enough to
Yeah.
know better etiquette. So if they can't put their best foot forward at the beginning, it concerns me about what kind of quality I'll get 6 months from now or 6 years from now. So if they don't show up, I'm very selective. I'd rather operate in a little bit of a deficit in terms of what our capacity is than bring on the wrong person, because that's a long-term problem that just creates all sorts of issues throughout the business.
Well, that is a fantastic breakdown, Brittany. And I want to thank you for being so candid about your operational reality. We have covered a lot of ground today, from your origin story to the future of your Pilates studio, and a little bit on the aesthetic medicine as well, in terms of the telemedicine aspect that you're also an affiliate for. I know that our audience will get immense value from this. And if you are in the Northern Virginia area, please come by and visit Fairfax Pilates. The website is in the description below. And with that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up the recorded portion of the Growth Lab.